Yo, what's up? It's been a while now that we received our new updates, and I've been playing occasionally. Most of the time I've been playing Held Loose instead of Enlisted, and the main reason I did games in the last 2 weeks is that there's this tournament going on right now, and the last day will be tomorrow. You are gonna get a new video about the games afterwards, likely on Sunday, since the tournament is gonna go quite late. And I've noticed multiple things about Enlisted, because looking from outside on something usually helps you get a really good overview and also understand many things you otherwise wouldn't really have in the right perspective. Especially when it comes to the annoying things and the bad things. And there's no shortage of those in Enlisted. So to verbalize everyone's displeasement with the game, I made this list of the most annoying things in Enlisted. And I even excluded everything that's just moderately annoying. I just focus on the super hardcore annoying things. Some things that people complain since 3 years even, since I started playing, and still weren't improved. So this list, I think, basically everyone will agree. Yeah. Except for the people addressed in the last point, but you're gonna see. So what's the first thing? This list has no real order, but the first thing is actually the one that's the biggest problem. And it's that you don't have any spawn priority on your rallies or your APC. This means if you put in the work and the effort and the risk oftentimes to build a rally, and your lazy bumfuck teammates don't, they still oftentimes get to spawn before you on the rally that you built, and you have to wait. Now, what dumb retarded system is this, where you don't get rewarded for the work that is absolutely essential for the game to function, but that almost no player is doing? Literally everyone who played Enlisted even for 1 hour understands that rallies are the most important thing in the game, and that most players are too lazy, or too ignorant, or just assholes, or they are new players and can't build rallies because the game doesn't give them engineers in the beginning, which is also retarded, and which I posted an easy solution for. Give every new player 2 or 3 free engineers in the beginning of the game. Just give every player, after he finishes his first game, 1 engineer, like gold older engineer, and after he wins his first game, he gets another one. Congratulations, every new player can now instantly build rallies. Everything is fine. Nope, Gaijin doesn't do it, it's even easier to code. But yeah, this thing with people putting in effort and not getting incentivized, like, it's one of the literally most retarded things. It's one of the absolutely biggest game design mistakes you can do. It's on so many levels retarded, it doesn't get any worse. It doesn't get any fucking worse. Even in psychology, this is known as negative conditioning. If you want to demoralize someone, if you want to make sure someone loses all hope and motivation, this is exactly what you do. You let someone do something good, and then you take away the profits of that and give them in front of the eyes of that person to someone else. This is absolutely, like, this is, if I would see a new game with that feature, I would instantly leave that game. I would instantly drop it. And yeah, Enlisted can be very happy it still has its player base if such a basic feature is still not properly applied in the game. And of course the same problem applies to APCs. Alright, now I already made a video in the past last year about how to solve rally point issues. And yeah, for those new to the game or to the channel and wondering why isn't that solved, well, the people working on the game literally don't play the game. They don't fucking play the game. They don't even understand what the balance of most weapons is, because it takes them years to adjust minimal balance issues. And since they don't play the game, they don't even understand how important rallies are and how annoying it is to not be able to spawn on your own rallies that you build. Yep. Then, second problem is similarly annoying. It's the charge bug. Yes. What's a charge bug? Well, if you try to charge with your soldier to quickly rush towards a point, or to step an enemy soldier, you can do it, well, if you have enough stamina. But very often, I think around 20 or 25% of the time, so every 4th or 5th try, it doesn't work, because the game has a mechanic that if you try to step someone, if you try to melee attack, or if you try to charge, which is the same, you, after you did it, can't do it instantly again. This is, according to Gaijin, the way to balance melee, so you don't step everyone instantly. Well, this in itself is very questionable game design, but this problem causes the charge bug, because if there's, together with some other issues, because if for some reason the charge gets aborted, you cannot instantly start charging, you have to wait for 2 or 3 seconds. So this is just insanely annoying, especially if you want to quickly run out of an explosion area or something like that. Or if you actually want to charge towards an enemy with your bayonet, and you get the charge bug, thanks to Gaijin, and then you can't charge again and you get shot. So instead of a great, cool, fun gaming moment, that also would be great for publicity, because there are not many games where you can actually do some cool melee combat in World War II, especially since you have katanas or shinguntos as a Japanese. It just doesn't work in Enlisted because you have this fucking retarded charge bug constantly. And the biggest problem is, according to Gaijin, this charge bug doesn't even really exist, because you constantly get reminders from Gaijin that, oh, the charge bug, we don't have real evidence, we don't have, we can't reproduce it, and yeah, we need more reports. Oh my god, I've personally heard from dozens of players over the last 2 years or last year, as far as I can remember, direct complaints about this bug, and I've personally seen multiple people file complaints and reports about this bug. And apparently it's still not reproducible, but you know what would solve the reproducibility, whatever the noun is, if some Gaijin fucktard just played the game for 1 hour. And then he would get the charge bug dozens of times. Yeah. And there you have your reproduction of the bug. Yeah. So you see that they don't even play the game for 1 fucking hour. Alright. Now, then, next problem, we still can't pick maps and game modes. Well, playing Hell Let Loose 2 weeks ago, I noticed one great thing. I can pick exactly the map I want to play. And if I wanted theoretically to play one map for 10 hours straight, I can do it without any problem. Without any problem at all. And I can choose the game mode too. In Enlisted, you can't choose anything. And I even remember it was announced and promised a couple months ago, and then a couple weeks ago, but then it suddenly completely disappeared and there was absolute silence, apparently trying to push it under the rug. So people forget about it. Yeah, come on. Like, come the fuck on. This is an essential, absolutely essential feature of modern games, that you choose what you want to play. We are not in fucking boomer times where there was only one game, one map, and everyone had to play the same thing. No, like, this is just another nonsense. It doesn't even require explanations how bad this is. Then, no proper customization. People asked me multiple times over the last week to do a customization guide. Yep, it's in the works, it's basically finished, I just need a good moment to release it. It would have been today or tomorrow, but, well, I decided I need to rant, so you get this instead today. What's the problem with customization? Well, first of all, well, you're going to get the details tomorrow, but there are too many problems to just even mention them here. The biggest problems are, it doesn't properly work, it's too chaotic, it's way too overpriced, especially for vehicles. Like, for soldiers it's fine, but when it comes to soldiers it doesn't work, especially for a nation like Germany, where you have countless completely different environments, and the whole selection for specific uniforms for specific areas is just complete brain dead. It just doesn't properly. It needs a proper clean system, which there isn't one. And when it comes to vehicles, it's ridiculously stupidly implemented and insanely overpriced. It wouldn't be even a problem if it's so badly implemented as right now. If it was cheaper, But the fact that if you buy something, you can only use it on one tank at a time is just nonsense. Because if you're a player who plays the game a lot and spends, let's say, quite a lot of money because he wants to play all BRs, all nations, now it would make sense if you buy one bush, you can use one bush every time you want. Nope, you can't. You can only use the bush once on a tank. And if you want to put a bush on another tank, you have to buy a new bush. Wow! Or you have to remove the bush from the first tank. Now guess what a problem it is to having to memorize, if you play multiple nations and multiple BRs, where you have your fucking bushes. I remember last week it cost me like over 5 minutes searching through all of my German armies where I have a fucking bush. And it was a random tank that I played, I think, a couple months ago and completely forgot about it. Yeah, wow. Yeah, we don't even need to talk about the problems when it comes to searching through your items and your armies and stuff like that, where it still is completely chaotic. So, yeah. Then, a related issue with the previous 2 points, map locking to specific BRs. As you know, Enlisted tried to ordain itself as a historical World War II game. Now, yeah, that's obviously a joke, but it's one, even no matter how badly designed a game is, one of the biggest saving measures for a game is the quality of its maps. Because if you find just one map that you really love in a shooter game, you won't really mind other problems, because playing a map that's really fun is just better than anything else. And Enlisted has, due to the vast amount of maps, many games that are really, really fun to play. And here's the problem. In Hell Let Loose, if you hate a map, you never have to play it. If you love a map, you can play it for 2 years straight. Nothing else. You can go full retard on a specific map. I'm still since I barely played that game so far, I'm still in the exploration phase, but I know that I don't mind any maps except for one. And some maps I absolutely love. Especially if they have weather effects, rain, thunder, and snowstorms and stuff like that. Which, by the way, is also very rare and listed. But the biggest problem is, regarding the map distribution, since we have 5 BRs, and these 5 BRs are correlated to power levels, you need a way to distribute your maps according or across everything. Now, the simple way would be every BR gets to play all maps. But since someone at Gaijin thought himself to be a genius, he came up with the idea to lock certain maps into specific BRs, implying that they show specific time zones. For example, low BRs, which correlate mostly with early war weapons, are featuring early war maps, more or less. For example, all of the Moscow maps from 41 to early 42 are there. But also Tunisia maps that are 42 to 43 are there, which is clearly mid-war. Yeah. And Pacific maps are also there, which are definitely not early war. So you see, there's the first problem. But the biggest problem is that some maps are completely tied to late war. For example, Berlin. Okay, that makes sense. But things like, for example, Normandy is also playable in BR1. Literally, 1944 maps, which is late war, are playable with the same BR that only low BR maps are playable with. But even that nonsense would be acceptable if there wasn't a complete brain dead stuff of some of the best maps in the game just completely locking out. I also already recorded a map ranking video. I'm waiting for a good moment to release it because it's really, really fun. And I was surprised about some of the placements. I made a similar video last year, and half of the picks are similar, but other picks are completely different. And we have some really new surprising kinks among the best maps. And I noticed there that a vast majority of the best maps in the game is simply Moscow and Tunisia maps. But you can barely play them because they're tied to low BR. And even playing BR3 armies means that half of the time you will get those ugly fucking Stalingrad and other maps. And if you want to play high BR, and many people want to play High BR Germany, you will never get the greatest maps in the game. And this just fucking sucks. This absolutely sucks. And the biggest annoyance with that is that it doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense historically, because most of these Moscow maps are generic maps. And I've said it multiple times already. Fortified district can be a district in the complete big Soviet Union. I recommend Gaijin to look at a map of the Soviet Union 1941 and tell me specifically where they think the fortified district allegedly was. Because the after Germany pushed into the Soviet Union, well, the Soviet Union eventually pushed Germany back. So the fortified district that allegedly was somewhere around 1941 on the front, on the Eastern Front, it would have been the same spot in 1944. So if you just look with basic historical knowledge, the same maps that Germany fought in 1941, it also fought, depending on the area, in 1943 and 1944. It doesn't make any fucking sense to lock out the early war maps from mid and late war. Especially if you have Rezhev, which was famously fought from 1942 to 1943. So exactly mid-war, you have it across all BRs. Like, why is that map open to all BRs and not the Moscow maps? Like, you see, it's a complete illogical ass backwards system, completely arbitrary picked, and we have the clear case that Gaijin is fucking bad at picking maps, because how many years did it take for the train map to be removed from the game? Like, it was added to the game before I started playing, so I don't know exactly, but it was multiple years. And I've said, like, years ago, think about how many fucking players left this game because they had to play this obnoxious, retardedly designed and completely bugged map. I myself uninstalled Enlisted once because I had to play this map 5 times in a row. And this was before I had the epiphany that I can just leave every map I don't like. So, yep, like, this map is just fucking horrible. Many other maps are bad. We don't have map picking, and we don't even have proper map distribution across BRs. So yeah, fuck this needs to be significantly improved. Then, another bug that I encountered today. It took me one game to play, and I encountered it. And fun fact, the same bug I had in a tournament, and I didn't even notice it happened. Only watching a replay I noticed it happened. And it happened in a very, very painful moment. The situation was, we played against the best team in the tournament, meaning exactly when you can't afford fucking bugs by Gaijin. And I took a squad with 2 engineers. I ran to the corner, placed a rally, and ordered with an engineer, and then clicked X on the rally, which leads to your other engineers in the squad, in that case 1, finishing the structure. And then I ran forward with my engineer, with the same one that I used the whole game so far, placed an HMG, and finished it quickly, and started shooting the enemies. Now my plan obviously was to quickly build a rally, to save time, due to the other engineer building the rally completely, while I'm building the HMG and shooting at the enemies to stop them. Problem was, after I got killed, after killing quite a few enemies with the HMG, I couldn't spawn on my rally, and I didn't know why. And in the replays we noticed that the engineer that was about to finish the rally stopped building the rally once my engineer that I controlled jumped on the HMG. Meaning, if you do this, if you let multiple engineers build something, as long as you, the moment that you switch from your main engineer into a structure, for some fucking reason that doesn't make any sense, the other engineers stop building. Now, what the fuck is this? Which fucking brain dead feature is that, please? Once again, Gaijin doesn't play Enlisted, otherwise they would have noticed this retardation. And there are multiple similar problems, because if you, for example, thought, oh, what if I just switch to a third soldier? Well, then the engineer also stops building. Now, why the fuck should an engineer stop building a structure just because I switched to another soldier? Like in theory, you should be able to switch as much as you want, and the engineers would still finish building. But nope, doesn't work. Like, it's completely retarded, and once again, extremely annoying. You see, this list is very well picked because everything here is just creating blood pressure, like a fat American in summer. It's just ridiculous. So, and the obvious problem is here that why the fuck is there the necessity to have multiple engineers in a squad in the first place? Why wouldn't you be able to just place down a structure and click a button, and that forces the engineer to finish the structure, and you just switch to another soldier? Why the fuck are you supposed to, are you forced to wait while your engineer is building? Enlisted markets itself as a squad game, where you command a squad. Now, where's the squad aspect if I have to fucking manually use a soldier to babysit him, hammering 50 times at something, instead of actually using my squad intelligently and commanding multiple soldiers to do multiple things? Like, what the fuck is this? And this completely invalidates the usefulness of engineer squads, where in theory, with some fast clicking and some intelligent planning and some creativity, you can build multiple structures at once. Also, I'm going to release a new engineer guide since I haven't done it in a long time. And all of my old viewers still remember some of my first videos were quite fun engineer guides. And I worked on that myself, how to build the main engineer structures, meaning a rally point, an anti-tank gun, a machine gun nest, and an anti-air gun, as fast as possible. And I noticed, yep, I found ways to optimize it. You can do it insanely quickly, but you also constantly get the fucking bugs. Because the moment you jump into one of the structures, the others start building. But why do you build the structures? Well, to have a rally point for your team, because you're social, you're not a lazy bumfuck like most players. And if the enemies start coming with their fast jets, you need to shoot them down quickly. Also, Gaijin, where the fuck are better BR5 anti-air guns? Still not no man's side. But you can't even do this. You can't even profit from the fast building because once you finish the structure you need, everything else gets aborted. So yeah, this is just fucking bad. And we don't need to talk about your bots constantly jumping in front of you while you're building. Allegedly, this was fixed, but we all know it wasn't. Like, I can't stress how often I've read in patch notes, since I'm doing patch note a news video since 2 years now, and I constantly see, oh, bugs, bot AI fixed, bots don't jump in front of you while building anymore. They still fucking do it. They constantly, today, once again, they were fucking doing it. It just, and once again, Gaijin not playing the fucking game, because once again, just play one game. Build and take an engineer squad like a proper enlisted player would, and build something, and you will instantly see all the bugs. It literally takes 20 minutes of playing enlisted to discover for yourself all the bugs that we talk about here. So, yeah, what the fuck? Yeah. And then another extremely annoying bug, or feature, Gaijin would say, artillery strikes. It's not even one bug, it's two horrifically annoying bugs. First of all, in Enlisted, you get color zones. You get these circles for artillery strikes. Now, if you call a strike, you get a circle. If the enemies call one, they also draw a circle on the map. Now, why the fuck are they the same color? In which world is it logical to have, and I recommend to listen precisely, the condition is by which logic does it make sense to have two circles with the same color? If you have two circles, they should be different color. But first thing, and second thing, I've seen some Gaijin dick suckers say, oh, it would be overpowered, it's a balancing feature. You dumb fuck motherfucker. if you want to balance it, why the fuck do you show the enemy team where it gets artillery striked? Because that is the logical balancing feature. Because this is having two circles of the same color is not a balancing feature, it's a pure annoyance feature. It's a pure fucking ankle-biting, hardcore annoying, complete retarded game design feature. That's what it is. Like, it's so retarded, I don't even have words for that. Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense at all. Once again, how fucking retarded is that? And here's the thing. Bad, low-quality game designers can do one smart thing, besides playing their own game, play some other games. And then you will just learn what other good game designers do. And, for example, I've played a couple years ago Pillars of Eternity. I played both 1 and 2. Great games, by the way. And in my opinion, the best role-playing game mechanics ever. They are perfectly logical, perfectly clean, make perfect sense, very elegant, and also very immersive and realistic. But here's the thing, the first game had a feature where you, in order to rest your group of characters and heal them from damage, you needed resting supplies, okay? And you had a maximum of 2 rest supplies, okay? And you could then buy in very few places, okay? And you constantly, whenever you fought, which is constantly in the game, your characters accumulated damages. And if, for example, one character got his arm hit very hard, he had a broken arm, and now he gets penalties on his movement and his performance because he has a broken arm. And he only heals his arm if he rests completely. And now comes the problem. Now, first of all, why is it featured there? It's obviously very annoying because every single thing, also wizards were limited to using spells only once per rest. So wizards had a problem that if you didn't rest often, you only could use your spells very rarely. Same thing goes for many other abilities. Now, this made the game more challenging and cooler and more realistic because you actually played very careful, and this gave it a very cool immersion. But this system only worked in open areas because once you started going into dungeons, you obviously there was a dungeon that goes like multiple levels deep, like 10 levels deep or so. And the deeper you go, the more damage you get. And then you obviously need to heal, but you cannot get these rest supplies. So eventually you have to go back again, crawl out in the outside world, go to a city to buy rest supplies in order to heal yourself. And this created the problem that you have to wait literally around 20 minutes of loading, reloading, because you had to jump every single level manually to get out of these levels, to go to a city and get your supplies. And the developers understood this is just, despite the theoretical advantages, it's a motherfucking annoying feature. It's so motherfucking toxic and annoying, they just completely removed it from the second game. This made the second game much less immersive because the chance of dying was much weaker, and it overall became a much easier game. And some people complained, but they knew that it's the intelligent thing to do, because it's better to have that than to have an absolutely hardcore annoying feature that many people will just stop playing the game for. Also, if the game is too easy, just play it on the hardest mode, which I did, and yeah, it's insanely fucking hard. So yeah, but this balances it out. So these developers understood, oh, we have to remove this feature. It's a completely fucking feature. It completely ruins our game. But Gaijin doesn't do it. And this is exactly the lesson that should be taken from the artillery strike bullshit. Either remove the second circle or give it another color. And no, it's not hard to change the color of a texture in the game. In case someone from the fucking Reddit or Enlisted forum tries to say that. Talking of Enlisted forum Reddit, here's our last point for today. I will make it very short. There's the big problem of insane toxicity in the Enlisted social media. Now, this is another core aspect of why the game doesn't grow. It just has almost only toxic fucktards in the social media. It here's the thing. The first thing a new player gets, if he goes into Reddit, let's say a new player has a question. And I even saw some posts in the past week about that, where someone made a joke about it, where he said that if a new player asks a question, he gets laughed out and insulted by old players. Like, what type of retard behavior is this? And secondly, that's exactly what happens. You can look at the Reddit forum. If people ask questions, they get fucking downvoted. You constantly see people asking basic questions, and the post has 0 likes, so you don't know whether it has -20 or minus something, and it has 30 answers. And if you waste your time and click on the 30 answers to see what is there, you usually see the 2 same socially retarded idiots spurging around and talking about nonsense, and no one even helping the person who asked the question. And the other replies are insults from old losers who play the game 24/7, insulting the new player while he's asking easy questions. Like, what the fuck? like here's the thing. I've been part of like 10 completely different gaming communities in the last 10 years. And I can tell you for a fact, with 100% experience, this is by far the most toxic one. By far. Like, not a single one is even remotely as toxic as the Enlisted community, because it just has like mostly like fucking like retarded 12-year-olds who fuck their brain with drinking energy drinks 24/7 and other things I won't talk on, and a bunch of like retarded 40-year-olds who also have other issues. Like, this is basically 90% of all people on Reddit and on the forum. Of course, there are many normal players, but these people instantly leave these areas because they don't want the toxicity. And the only reason I'm sometimes interacting on Reddit and forum is because I fucking have to make videos, and I, for your sake, have to read what's going on there. But besides that, it's a complete shit show. And the big problem is, whenever you have such a toxic community, the problem is not the community, it's the mods. Because why? Well, mods can just ban toxic people, and if you have, let's say, 50,000 people signed into the Enlisted Reddit, out of these 50,000, you only have like 40 or 50 online at a time, which, by the way, shows you that the game has barely any player retention, because people usually don't leave Enlisted Reddit, leave Reddits once they signed in, so they stay there forever. And if you see a game has so many people signed in, but basically no one is active, you know that, oh, most people fucking instantly left the game. So, first problem. Second problem, if you have such a small number of people, you get all of the small sample size issues, meaning high variance expressions. That means that if you have very small sample sizes, like small numbers of something happening, you can expect extreme results, meaning either extremely good environments or extremely bad environments. Now, guess what's going on in Enlisted? It's an extremely bad environment. It's an extremely fucking toxic environment. And the main reason is that most mods themselves are fucking toxic fucks. And they're actively supporting the toxicity. Because they're friends with whatever toxic fuck is toxic, and then they prevent the bannings and whatever. Like, I had to go to Reddit myself over the last 2 years, fucking reporting ridiculously toxic people that clearly were breaking any rules of normal human mentally healthy behavior. And the Reddit mods in Enlisted said, oh, it's completely fine, everything's fine. But when I reported them to the Reddit Central whatever mods, they instantly deleted their accounts. And oh, what a coincidence. Which obviously proves that the Enlisted mods are just fucking biased and toxic themselves. Now, yeah, I got reminded of that today because there was a discussion about someone talking about changing some weapons from BR2 to BR3. And I didn't really bother reading, I just logged in to see is there a new update or not, which is the reason why I have to log into the forum every day to see is there a new update for the game or not. And I didn't care clicking on anything. And when I logged in later that day, I saw that this post somehow got 50 comments. And I thought, okay, apparently there's something interesting. So I jumped into the post and I saw how half of the comments are deleted or grayed out, which is the well, hypocritical form of deletion, because the comment isn't deleted, but no one can read it anymore. so okay, and I posted, why are half of the comments here deleted? And my comment got deleted. And I posted again 1 minute later, why are comments getting deleted here? And then my account got suspended. And I thought, like, which fucking spurgy retard missed his medicaments this day and started crashing completely out and fucking muting and deleting the comments of like all the people posting there. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I think, yep. And here's the short answer, or the short issue. People recently were talking about what's going on at Gaijin. It's firing all the helpers and mods. And like, here's the thing. There's literally one great good helper and mod at Enlisted. It was James. He's sadly not there anymore. The others, well, I can maybe find 1 or 2 good and useful ones, and the rest literally is just toxic slop. Because the rest literally is creating the bullshit atmosphere that's causing the game not to grow. Because, yep, it's completely new player unfriendly, and new players get completely constantly insulted, harassed, and every, well, mentally healthy person who gets into playing Enlisted, the first thing he sees is a completely toxic environment. Like, completely toxic. So this is, I mean, I don't really care about it anymore. So for me personally, it's not annoying, but obviously for everyone who cares about Enlisted and who's a new player especially, yeah, this is possibly the most annoying thing, because it's simply a shitty place to be in. It's like a shitty community where you don't want to spend your time in, and you think like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Why are they so retarded? Alright, that's it. That's enough spurging from me. I wanted this video to be 30 minutes, but now it's 37. Okay, whatever. Let me know what you think, because you definitely will have nice, spicy opinions on this. And like this video and share it with everyone you know, so as many Enlisted players as possible listen to this and share their opinions here. And of course, subscribe if you're new. You're gonna get lots of other cool stuff in the next weeks. Until soon, goodbye.